Okay, well, thanks for tuning in, guys. Right now you're watching the Soulfire Sunday podcast presented by the Sex and Suicide podcast. And right now I have two other individuals with me. This is Paulie O'Byrne. He's the founder of I'm 1 in 5. And this is, are you Paulie?
Yeah.
And this is Scotty.
Check these guns out.
And we got Scott Milne here, who's an IFBB Pro. Both of their pages are also running the stream. If you're new to Soulfire Sundays are about three guys sitting on a couch talking about mental health. And we're following a program by Lucinda Bassett, which is all about cognitive behavioral therapy, which is trying to catch yourself in your negative thoughts and transform those into more empowering thoughts, and just help you get through anxious episodes, stressful episodes and days, and also depression. So basically, I guess we're all here to take this course on attacking anxiety and depression, and it's provided by Lucinda Bassett, which is from the Midwest Center. And right now we are on session number 13, which is about time management and anxiety. So how did you guys find this week? We're laughing. Yeah, we're laughing because Scott was a few minutes late today. And
like every weekend. I have a problem with time management.
So
I readily admit that.
So how did you find this week?
Enlightening, stuff
you already know. But yeah,
I've been told my whole life.
Fair enough. It's just a matter of implementing some of the tactics. Okay, so this will be a good week for you.
Yeah.
What about you, Paulie?
I like that. I think time's one of those things we never get back, right? So
yeah.
We got to use it while we got it.
Right.
Not waste it. That's for sure. That's what I learned. Don't waste your time. You only get, when our ticket's pulled, that's when the time's up. So better use it to the best of our...
Sure. So you think what we're doing here is a good use of time?
I think it's a great use of time. They say you only live once.
I hope so.
You live every day.
Just work every form.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, bud.
I think that you just live every day.
Yeah.
YOLO, that stupid thing. You only live once. You live every day. You only die once.
Right.
So get busy living.
Absolutely.
That's what that stands for, YOLO?
Yeah. When people say YOLO, you only live once. I found this week was really interesting because it was a lot about... I thought first when I read time management, and I've been through this course before, so this one kind of caught me off guard because I forgot about it. But I thought it was going to be steps and techniques to kind of get you in check, but a lot of it was a lot of it was just about how to get through anxiety to manage your time better. A lot of energy work, a lot of trying to pinpoint when you have the most energy and to kind of be more productive at that point in your day. And during the time when you have low energy, you're going to do the less important tasks at that point. So that was kind of interesting to me.
It's tougher to do that, I think, to put those priority lists together, because everything's important, right? And then we have to say what's more important, right?
Right.
And self-care I think is up there, especially when it comes to time management, right? And being in a job where you're always working 9 to 5, where you're working all this time doing someone else's work or doing work for someone else. So we got to take some time to do that for ourselves. And I don't think that's too selfish. I think that's a good thing that we can do for ourselves is give ourselves some time, right? And enjoy our time.
Right. I think a lot of this week was also about taking back your time and just not allowing other people to kind of control it, right? Because if you are an assertive person, and if you haven't been following some of the stuff that we've been talking about, other people can really easily pull at your time, and you can start to resent them for that. If you're constantly doing something for this person or that person. You got to take care of yourself first, right?
Well, I think for just in general for people like us or whatever,
suffer
from anxiety and we put so much pressure on ourselves. So if you have a to-do list and then you don't get a lot of it done that day because you are feeling tired or something, whatever.
Right.
I know I end up beating myself up about it,
right?
Which makes it worse, right? So it's like a vicious circle. So you kind of have to I found allow yourself to be okay with I don't have a lot of energy today or have bad sleep. It's okay for a few hours to feel like shit. Don't be upset about it. Do it tomorrow. You
don't have to pile it all into one day, and that's something we're going to go through. It's a really good point. I mean, it all comes down to your attitude about your to-do list.
Right. Yeah.
If you were maybe to take a little more time, and we're going to get into this in a little bit, but if you're maybe to kind of space things out, space out your appointments, don't try to cram it all into one day, and then feel good about that. If there's extra time, then add to it rather than piling on a mountain full of things that you need to do, and beating yourself up if they don't get done at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So my problem is, I think, like, I say yes to like everybody, you know, like as a people pleaser.
Yeah.
And then I don't really think about the time in between, like travel time or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And like whenever I go somewhere, I always end up running into somebody I know. And I'm a talker, so then I end up talking for like whatever, 20 minutes or longer, and then, you know, then the rest of the day is like, I'm off.
So keeping track of time and making sure you stick to like your time, your schedule is kind of something that needs to be worked on, I suppose.
Yep, and then I think learning to say no.
That's a big one.
Right?
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's a self-care, right?
That's exactly.
I can't do it today. Right?
Yeah, that's hard to do too. I mean, you obviously want to make people happy.
You feel selfish or guilty about that.
Right, sure.
I think even on those dark days though, like I said, like, you know, we've said before, like even if you get out of bed, like, and that's all you've done, then you've utilized your time to the best of your ability that day. I know, like, going through depression, I didn't want to get out of bed ever. Like, ever. I get up to have pee, and that's it. You know, and I go right back into bed, and I think I've come to a point where even in, like, depressive episodes, I'll get up out of my bed and just go to my couch. And I still feel like I've utilized my time to the best of my ability, right? And that's, when you're depressed, you don't want to do anything, you know, use any energy, right?
Right.
I think that's, you know, that's still an accomplishment that you got out of bed.
Baby steps.
The baby steps, for sure.
You gotta crawl before you can walk.
You know that whole baby steps thing? You ever see the movie What About Bob?
Mm-hmm.
I know, but that psychiatrist said baby steps, so don't think about the full day. Think about just, you're going to walk out of this office, think about making it to the door, and then opening the door, and then you think about walking through. Right. So it kind of, and we talk about this too, when you take on, go ahead.
Sorry. It's like living in the moment, right?
It is like living in the moment. What do I have to do now? Don't think about 10 steps ahead, think about what you have to do now. And we'll get into this as well with the time management. It's almost as if when you have a big project that feels overwhelming, break it down into smaller pieces and then work at it one step at a time and handle it that way. So we'll get into some of the stuff that was on the audio. So if you guys are watching and you're not wondering what the hell we're talking about, we all listen to an audio session for about an hour every week and take notes. And this one was on time management, obviously. And I'm going to read to you some of the notes that I took, and Paulie's got some there as well. So you guys, this one's a bit of a long one. So I'm going to try to kind of read through it and stop. But if you guys have something that's on your mind, interrupt me and just stick it in there and I'll stop, okay? So I'm talking to you guys out there that are watching. Is it difficult for you to spend time by yourself? Are you afraid to be alone? Maybe you're afraid of having a little too much time on your hands and too much time to obsess about things. Are you someone who finds it uncomfortable to sit at a red light? Is it difficult for you to stand in line? Do you have a hard time saying no to others' demands on your time? Do you push yourself with 100,000 things to do in one day? Do you feel exhausted and irritable at the end of the day, like you didn't get enough accomplished? We've already covered some of this. If any of these things ring a little bit of truth in your life, then there is a good chance you're not managing your time well. And I think we've already discussed that all of us are still dealing with this sort of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever get perfection with it, to be honest with you.
Well, we know there is no such thing as perfection, right? I think it's just a better way to manage.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, it's just literally managing the little things in your life and cutting out the things that are pulling at the important things. Right. Which is in the moment living, really, and the people that you love and get your direct attention. Most people with anxiety and depression tend to push themselves very hard, and they never feel like they've done enough. They tend to overload their day and their schedules and try too many things in a very short period of time. They're always racing the clock. They're always in a hurry. They also don't have a lot of tolerance for people who move slowly or talk slowly. So this is me a few years ago to a T. So tell me if you guys have this, but someone that was really calm would almost give me more anxiety because I'd be like, okay, fuck, hurry up, get it out, like, spit it out, right? But they're there to teach you the patience of, okay, like, take your time, breathe, slow it down. It's not that big of a deal.
Right.
Most things don't need to be rushed.
That's like driving.
Driving, I'm still bad at.
Oh man, like anyone driving under 100, I'm like, hurry up, like TikTok, you know, when the speed limit's 80.
Yeah.
And then, like even at 100, I'm like, I got places to be, you know.
Yeah. Like our lives are more important than theirs, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I always used to think that too. I used to think you know what? These old people, they don't have much time left. They're fucking putting along.
They're enjoying.
I'm here. I got so much life left. Why are you know? And it made no sense to me. But they're probably the ones that have it figured out. Like, hey, I'm enjoying myself now.
Just drive slow.
Look at the grass and trees.
So it's the young punks like us that just kind of.
that? Wow.
Yeah, it is. So this is all normal for someone with anxiety because people with anxiety get uncomfortable with too much time on their hands. People with anxiety tend to have more adrenaline and cortisol coursing through their bodies and feel a little more revved up sometimes. You guys agree with that?
100%.
Yeah. Do you feel like you both have a little more in your veins and it kind of just is more easily released in a sense?
I don't know if it's even easier released, right? I think that it just builds up, and then like for myself, I have to find ways to release it. That's why I walk so much. Because I'm so not paranoid or not worried or anything. I'm maybe high energy.
Right.
I need to get that stuff out, and walking is way better than sticking a needle in my arm. You know.
True.
It's healthier.
It's really almost like part of like ADHD, right? Like,
right.
I know for myself, like growing up, like I used to go. My mom used to take me to a place called the Learning Loft.
Oh yeah.
And just because they did it, like their techniques were different than school. Because like in high school, like I didn't like to write tests and all that. I couldn't do it there. I had to do it at this other place, and my mind was so like racing and like hyperactive that I couldn't focus on anything. So she made me go out and run around the building a bunch of times to calm me down, and then I could come and focus.
Yeah.
Because I've never been the type of person that can just sit there and read and sit quietly.
Yeah.
But my mom can sit and read like for hours and hours and hours. I can't do that.
I know it takes a
It
lot
makes
of
me more like
more anxious. Yeah, and I think that's where the breathing techniques come into play. In meditation, it makes you sort of more comfortable with just taking that time and slowing down, because otherwise I was the same way. And now I still have trouble sort of, I've never read a book, sat down and read a book from cover to cover. That's never been, I've never been able to do that. My concentration is gone after a few chapters.
Oh yeah.
But now at least,
like a page.
Pages. But now I'm finishing, like last year, and cutting out alcohol was huge.
Yeah.
But I probably read more books in that year than I read in my entire life combined up to that year.
I tried to read when I was drinking, like just to kind of give myself like that boost.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why, sick, right? Real sick.
Yeah.
And I'd read a page and totally forget what I just read.
That's common. Like very common.
And I think more in my sobriety, I've been able to retain a little bit more. Like literally, I'd read the page and be like, "Fuck, I have no idea what I just read." Like, I'd read that over again. And now at least I can like. I've done a lot more reading, and I think that's like educating ourselves and giving ourselves some gifts of education, right?
Right.
Opening our minds up that we can read books and retaining that shit. And
that was me all through public school and high school. I mean, same thing. I'd get through a paragraph and already forget.
Forget what you were reading.
Yeah, and now, I mean, right now I have the habit of like, I'll hold on to a highlighter, even though people think I'm crazy sometimes, because I read my books, I always have a highlighter. And a highlighter is there, so that if I catch something important, I go back, I reread it, I highlight it.
The whole page is highlighted.
It kind of is, but some of my books have literally...
Wait till you go to college, man. The whole book will be highlighted.
Like that, right?
Yeah.
But it sort of helps me retain it, and then it's sort of, you understand that paragraph, you're ready to move on. So it's just the same thing.
Yeah.
Breaking it into those same thing we talked about, baby step it, right?
Right.
So instead of trying to focus on the whole page, break it up into something, find an important point, think about it, and then move forward.
Around that,
were you the type of person if somebody read it to you, you could retain it right away? Or if you saw it?
I think that if people read to me, like for example, when I was little, my mom used to read to me.
Yeah.
And I used to enjoy that, but the only reason I enjoyed that is because as she was reading, my imagination would take over.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if anything I was envisioning in my mind was anything like what was on the page by the end of it, right?
Yeah, right.
Because I just had an overactive imagination. I still do.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a bad thing, though. That like incites creativity, right?
And I think that's the thing that can be, as we talked about before, your imagination when you have anxiety and depression can be a scary thing because as creative as that can be in a positive sense, it can bring you to some pretty dark places as well.
100%.
So it's just a matter of bringing yourself to a point where you can catch yourself going on that path like we're doing in this program and reprogram that to a more positive way of thinking and a thought process.
There's lots of ways to get like your creativity out. I'm not an artsy person, but I love coloring, and they probably look like shit. They probably look like equivalent to a kindergarten kid's coloring, but I don't care.
Right.
It's not about the quality. It's just about me getting my stuff out. And if that's like just drawn in a straight line for a while, then so be it. You know what I mean? I'm not creating, like I'm not the artsy guy at all. So
Right.
I think that's a good way, a positive way to get creativity out or anxiety out is through art, but it's just I'm just awful at it. Like I'm just not good at it. I don't give up on it though.
Right. If you enjoy it, it doesn't really matter what the end result is. If that's a form of self-care for you, sure, people might judge you and think you colored it at a restaurant like a 6-year-old. But still, it has its place. If you feel good about it, that's all that matters.
And ultimately that's all that matters. And I got my stuff out of me. I got my anxiety out of me. And I think that's the same with music. I'm really in the music scene. Like
you talked about guitar a few times.
I play a lot of guitar.
Yeah.
And write. Like I write a lot of lyrics.
How often do you play the skin flute?
0 times. I'm 0 times on that. 0. I don't want any experience on that.
No?
No.
Did you get that joke, Scotty?
No, I didn't.
Skin flute is like masturbation.
Oh,
there you go. I had to throw something in there perverted.
Yeah.
This is why often, so we're back to the adrenaline and cortisol coursing through your body. So this is why often people with anxiety have a difficult time with the relaxation tape at first. So we use a relaxation tape. I don't know how often you guys are using
that.
I like it. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I use it like quite a bit.
Did you find at first that it was a little uncomfortable? Yeah? Okay. So the relaxation tape you can find on YouTube. If you just type in any kind of relaxation tape. This one's Lucinda Bassett. But there's all sorts of relaxation. They can also be called guided meditations, I guess, in a sense. But anything like that that's going to calm down your heart rate and get you focused on your breathing is a good thing, just to break up that anxious energy. You have to step back and really ask yourself, what's the rush? Rushing around all day and focusing on getting things done takes you out of the present moment living. And I think that our society has kind of programmed us like that, where we're constantly running around.
Instant gratification.
Yeah, instant gratification, next task, and then you're on to the next thing. And a lot of times you reward yourself, but you will reward yourself in unhealthy ways.
Right.
By going to the bars and drinking your face off. And it's not necessarily the best way to program yourself for the future. That's the thing with school for me that I was always like, I'm going to reward myself. I had a test, oh fuck it, I'm going to the bar. I'm going to reward myself, right?
Before the test?
Yeah, pretty much.
I've definitely done that. My first time around college, I went to an exam like with a beer in my McDonald's cup.
Yeah, I've heard of people doing that more than once.
Oh, like I wasn't the only one in that class doing it. Like we kind of went as a tribe, and just to calm down. Like I think I buckle a lot under pressure, or at least in tests and testing situations. And I know like 6 of us went to McDonald's and filled up like the extra large.
6 of you?
Yeah.
6 of you got drunk before your test?
No, we got drunk during the test.
Oh God!
We put the ice in the cup, no pop or anything, and then just put the beer can right in there, and then put the straw in the beer can, and put the lid on it. It looks like you're just drinking McDonald's Coke, right?
Giving tips to the university and college students.
We're 18 plus here, right?
That's we are.
We are. To,
but now looking back, would you recommend it?
I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay.
I probably failed that test miserably because I was probably looking at it like that.
Right.
Doing those Scantrons, not staying in the line.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's good, right? Probiotics? Mm-hmm.
That's probably better for exams than...
Yeah, get yourself a kombucha.
Yeah.
For sure. Although if you're not used to them, they might give you the shit, so it might not be a good idea in like starting it at an exam. Yeah. People with anxiety try to accomplish a lot at once because they think it will make them feel good at the end of the day. Why not feel good now? The whole time you're running around trying to accomplish these tasks. And this is where we can go back to the analogy of the people in the car, right? They're probably running errands too, the old timers that we're talking about that are putting along. And they're probably enjoying the drive, maybe listening to a little bit of music or a Tony Robbins tape. And then we're the ones cranking the fucking rap music or the whatever, right? The metal music, driving around all the cars. I gotta get this done, get this done. Just slow it down. Just slow down and breathe.
I just think like even sometimes I'm guilty of it. Like, hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, hurry up and get somewhere, and then you get there, and then you're still waiting around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm guilty of that for sure.
If you can try to enjoy the journey, right, rather than getting to the destination.
Yeah, that's life, right?
Yeah, it is life, but it especially applies to people with anxiety and depression.
Yeah, there's beauty in moments, right? There really is, and you gotta see that beauty, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's an attitude thing if you want to see the beauty in
this whole thing is attitude.
Right.
Yeah.
Whole thing is attitude.
Because I think we get away from that, right? When we stop, like, whatever. Like, I went for a walk the other day, just in Springbank Park, and like, it was amazing, you know, like, about how nice it was, and like, just enjoying the weather, the birds, the trees, people like going by, you know?
Yeah.
And just like felt, when I left, I just had so much more energy and like zest for life.
Right.
Like,
it just
focus on
recharges.
this.
Yeah.
You know, instead of being depressed about all this other little crap.
Right.
You know?
So the walk in the park kind of recharged you, and I think that
it's nature, and just, you know, look at what we've been given as a gift, right? Like,
did we
we
take
do
for
take that
granted?
for granted. Like,
Yeah.
A couple of people died this week in the bodybuilding industry. Like,
I saw that.
Yeah.
Like big time guys, right?
Yeah, Rich Piana passed away. Which, I don't know. He was not the most healthy person, I don't think, in the world. But the other guy, Dallas McCarver, like, that was just a freak accident.
Really?
26 years old. And
26?
Wow.
Yeah, choked on chicken and rice.
Really? See, I didn't know he was 26. I saw those too. I saw that there was a big loss in the bodybuilding industry.
Yeah. His training partner was on his way to pick him up. They just talked. It was like 20 minutes between, and got there and
really.
And,
oh my goodness!
Wow.
Yeah. So just like that, it can be taken from you. I mean, that's not to scare you. It's just to sort of say, like Paulie said before.
Stop and just enjoy.
And you only die if you're afraid of death. Just remember what Paulie said. You only die. It's inevitable. You're dead the day that you were born, and you only die once. You live every day. So embrace every day as you have it. Because I know that was a big thing for me. Was I was always obsessing about fearing of dying and having to get past that was tough.
Yeah.
But as soon as you can kind of conquer your fear of what's going to happen regardless, and really,
because that's inevitable, right? Like,
it is.
Whatever is written. So
we're all going to the same place. You can't bring any of your shit with you.
Just a test.
You don't get to bring a car with you.
No, and everything. I mean, this couch is going to either deteriorate or it's going to be in someone else's home. Yeah. This house is going to be lived in by other people. At the end of the day, we're all just borrowing everything that we have. It's never going to be permanent. So get used to it.
I think there's just like a test for the afterlife and like how you treat people, right? And
sure.
How it goes through.
Whatever your beliefs are, right? Absolutely. So one of the things that can help you the most is to just try to do everything slower, as we said. Settle down, move slower, breathe slower. Just try to relax in all that you do. And that was a big one for me. Talking slower and practicing taking everything at a slower pace is just something that really hit home to me when I first started this, because it actually reminded me to breathe and just to kind of look around and discover the moment and see what's there instead of trying to rush through it all the time.
Did you feel like you're almost operating or vibrating at like a higher level and just like you need to calm yourself down?
I think that vibrating at a higher level actually means that you're potentially more happy and full of love. I think that like when you're in a depressed state, you're just you're in a more, I don't know, an anxious, like you're just nervous, and the energy is the energy's not as calm and fulfilling. It's more of like a push, and it's hard to describe. But you guys, anyone that's gone through anxious episodes knows what I mean.
It's a chaos energy.
Yeah, exactly. It's very chaotic, and when you start to slow down and you start to kind of learn how to control that in a positive way, then I think that you start vibrating at a higher level and a higher frequency. Yeah. And then it's positive energy, right? But I don't know. I mean, it depends. That we don't really discuss about in this. But when you feel wound up like a spring, all you need to do is realize that it's nothing more than anxious energy. There we go. You need to do something to get rid of it. Clean the house, exercise, go for a walk like Paulie does, or like Scott does through the park. Play with the kids, get moving. When you're feeling comfortable and relaxed, just understand at that time it's okay to relax and do nothing. You don't always have to be doing something. That thought alone of doing nothing may even make you anxious, but it's okay to just sit and breathe. And this is where a lot of people feel like it's the programming of, what's next, I'm not being unproductive, I should be doing something.
What's society?
Yeah, but you don't need to always be doing something.
I think that, like, I've written down here, like when you're too busy, you're unproductive because you're so focused on staying busy that half the shit that you get done, like the quality of it isn't good. It's just about quantity. How much can you get done? Not like how good can you get things done. I think if we slow down, we can maybe take some more, pride in our work and pride in what we do. We don't just have to, it's not just going through and getting your things off your list as fast as you can. It's about like doing that to the best of your ability and like, feeling loved about that and feeling, that you've done something, you've accomplished something. Whether that's one thing or like I have a bucket list. I've been doing this for a few years now, like in my sobriety. Where every January 1st, on my sobriety birthday every year, I'll write a list of things I want to do, like anything in the world. So like this year it was like go to California, go to Jamaica, ride a horse. Or that was last year, sorry. And I got 2 things off that list. I finally rode a horse for the first time in my life.
Cool.
And I just thought if I can mark one thing off this list in a whole year, then I'm accomplished.
Right.
I'm probably not going to go to California and Jamaica in the same year.
Right.
But those are 2 places that I would love to go to, and I got to put that out to the universe, right? I can't keep that stuff in. And if I can write that down, even get one thing accomplished in a year, I think that, riding a horse for me was so cool. I've ridden like an elephant at African Lion Safari, but never a horse. So I was like, fuck it, I gotta get on a horse, right?
Yeah.
It was cool. I'd love to do it again too. It was so calming. Those animals are they're really, really cool. Horses are wild.
They're used for therapy.
Yeah,
they're very intuitive. They can pick up on energy.
I meditated with 2 horses at this Grail Springs Wellness Retreat in Bancroft, and it was wild, man. Like I was kind of in a deep meditation. I opened up my eyes, and this horse's face was right.
Are you serious?
I was like, oh,
that would be amazing.
It was unbelievable. I got pretty emotional about it because it was like,
that's cool.
Holy cow, such a right here too. Right? I was like. Decent. I could feel that it was close, but I didn't know it was that close. I had no idea. It was really cool. This Grail Springs place has horses that they do it.
You know what would have been awesome? Have you ever seen when horses kind of they open their mouth and they kind of have a smile and they just start smiling at you?
Give them a kiss or something.
For sure.
Yeah.
If you have symptoms of anxiety while you're just sitting still, this is when you start using your positive dialogue. This is when you have to learn to say, I'm okay. I like being myself. It's okay to just sit here and relax. It feels good just to lay here and drift off and do nothing. Think about being a kid again and just let time pass like you did when you were young. And it's almost like we're backwards now. We grow and we know all this stuff, but it takes our capacity away for being that kid that's just having the best time laying on the ground looking at the ceiling.
It's like the innocence.
Yeah. And you look at them and just you wonder, wow, they're just enjoying being alive for a minute.
I think about these, maybe it's just the way it is nowadays, but kids have so many toys, so many different toys. It's not like it used
to be, I guess.
I used to play with pots and pans,
Yeah.
All the time. My parents could get me any toy and I'd still go to the cupboard and get the pots and pans out.
Right.
Bang around.
Right.
That's all it was. It was really just a toys. It wasn't like the toys.
You could always have fun with anything that was kind of new.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we need to get back to is just kind of sitting.
Yeah.
Exactly. Simplicity and just present moment living and not letting your grown-up tasks take over for a bit.
Just go back to the time when you actually had 1 day off, Sundays off, and you shut down, everyone's connected all the time.
That's wild to think.
Shut down
the beer
phone
stores used to be closed on Sundays.
Yeah.
That's wild. To me, or banks.
Everything.
Sundays,
Everything
right?
used to be. It was a day of rest. I know. It's almost like we need it now, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to make more money. They wanted to open
the uproar that would happen if we shut down Sundays now?
You know
what I mean? If we shut down, work on Sundays like they used to, the Facebook would be unbelievable.
What, everybody flocking to Facebook?
No, everyone would just be, putting
bitching on Facebook?
Yeah, bitching on Facebook about Sundays being closed.
Oh, I can't get this, I can't get that.
Yeah.
Well, that goes back to the instant gratification where you used to have to plan ahead a little bit. You can't get everything.
I don't think there's anything wrong with planning ahead.
I don't think so either. I'm going to talk about that too.
Yeah.
So many people with anxiety are so high-strung that by the end of the day or by the middle of the afternoon, they find themselves exhausted, fatigued, and depressed. Your adrenaline has been working overtime, your mind has been working overtime, and it's a very non-productive, self-defeating feeling at the end of the day. An extremely important part of recovery is realizing when your energy levels are up and down and recognizing when you need to back off and not do anymore. So this was really eye-opening to me because I've never really focused on this. But when you start feeling worn out, the first thing to show up are your body symptoms of anxiety, and that's that's when it's time to start relaxing yourself, because if we keep pushing, that's when the adrenaline kicks into overdrive. That's when we start second guessing ourselves and our mind becomes fatigued, and that's when we start having anxiety and potentially panic attacks.
Right.
Anxiety is a byproduct of stress. So now we're going to get into talking about stress and how that can affect us. So when you're stressed, anxiety kicks into full gear and you have a tough time handling the smallest things in life. The body symptoms of anxiety are your reaction to stress. The first signs of stress may bring on irritability, which may then lead to depression and overwhelm. Then you're no good to anybody. You're no good to your spouse, you're no good to yourself, you're no good to your kids, you're no good to your boss. Anxiety, unfortunately, brings on the symptoms that cause the stress response. Instead of letting your symptoms of anxiety scare you, when you start having these body symptoms, for example, we know some of the symptoms could be your heart starts to pound, you might get sweaty palms, you start feeling kind of spacey and bewildered. We've gone through these. Just a side note, if anyone's watching and they don't know what we're talking about now, we've covered this in previous podcasts. You can find them on the Facebook page, and our YouTube channel is probably the better source. So you could have a headache or you just feel tense. But what you need to do at this point is to stop and say, I've overdone it, I'm tired, I've had enough, I've pushed myself too hard. So instead of thinking it's because you didn't get enough done, this is where we're talking about the attitude adjustment in the list.
Yeah.
Start thinking the opposite. You need to relax, you need to go home, you need to get into a warm bath and be proud of yourself for what you did accomplish. You may also want to take a nap or read a book. Just do whatever you need to do to unwind and recharge. So obviously, when we look at that list, if we're not getting enough done, the fact that you think you have so much to do in a day, which was your expectation to begin with, that you thought you could get that much done, you created all that stress for yourself. Yeah. If you would just put less things on your list, and then when you get them done, you probably wouldn't have the anxiety to begin with.
I think this is probably like a Tony Robbins thing again, but high expectations of yourself, like instantly is like a resentment, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because we may not ever meet those expectations because for me, I put my expectations way up here, and if I don't meet that, then I beat myself up, right? Well,
right.
That's just unrealistic of me to put those, and it's not to say not to put expectations on yourself, just like lower your expectations a little bit because we're not God.
I think you said it though, you said realistic.
Yeah.
So instead of setting high expectations, set realistic expectations. You can't do as much as you think you can in a day, right. A lot of the time.
And that's all right. Like,
that is okay.
Perfectly, we're only human.
Yeah.
I think we almost set ourselves up for that, right?
For disaster, for being pissed off at ourselves.
Yeah.
Which sucks, you know, and then you get at the end of the day and you say, oh, I only got 16 things done out of 20.
Right.
We don't ever say, wow, I got 16 things
done. Or, holy shit, I did 10 things on my list that I got to cross off. I can actually do another 6. I have time for that.
Right.
Look at the change in how you feel about yourself just from that little thing. Yeah, it's all about the attitude. So maybe some of your ridiculous high expectations are making you anxious. But what? Ridiculous. But what is really making you anxious? It's you. Probably the fact that your expectations are related to the stress in your life. Don't underestimate the power of the other people in your life and their ability to help you if you need help. Don't be afraid to delegate. So if you have kids, if you have chores that need to be done, sure, they might not be done as perfect as you like them to be. Yeah. And we've already gone over the fact that we have perfectionistic qualities. So,
put the kids to work.
I mean, your kids, it's a good thing for them to have chores and to learn that, you know, in life you have to work.
It's just about respecting yourself and your surroundings. And,
right.
You know what I mean?
And if you have a spouse or a significant other, I mean, just ask them for help. Again, it might not be done the way that you'd prefer, but at least they're making an effort, and it might give them a sense of accomplishment and make them happy. Right. You never know.
For sure.
You don't know unless you try. So start delegating if you're totally overwhelmed. Where are we here? So let go of the power and control, and that's a big thing too. So a lot of people don't want to delegate because they want to have control over everything, right? Well, you'll be a lot happier when you let go and realize
there's a little bit of surrender in that, and like that's like a freedom kind of feeling, right? When you can
let go,
relinquish some power, right?
Yeah, and just realize when you start realizing that it's okay that the house doesn't necessarily need to be cleaned on a sunny day,
right?
When you can start realizing that like right here, when I have these guys over for the podcast, this doesn't look perfect, but it's okay. I'm happy. I'm happy.
That's great.
Thanks, buddy. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There's people that you're never going to have the perfect atmosphere, the perfect anything.
Right.
And the sooner that you stop trying to aim for perfection all the time,
to please other people.
To please other people, yeah, exactly. Not most of the time you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it because of the way you want other people to see you.
Yeah.
So, where are we here? You also have to learn to say no to other people's demands on your time. So this one's good for Scott, right?
Yeah.
You have to learn how to put yourself first. You have to learn how to get through the day's activities and eliminate some of the things that aren't really important.
Sorry.
You all right, buddy?
Yes.
Okay. It may help you to make daily lists and rank the tasks from most important to least important so that you can get the important stuff done first, and the rest can be pushed back to another day if need be, or even eliminating them altogether.
I just think that we don't need to put so much pressure on ourselves. I get that it's an instant gratification, and I'm guilty of it.
I am too, man. This is almost like I should probably listen to this.
Right. I just think we shouldn't put so much pressure on ourselves because we are only human. We can only do so much in a day, right? And
right.
Some days are good and some days are bad, and I think we get a lot more done on good days than bad days, right? But it's not about the amount of things we get done. It's about the quality of things. So if you can, for me, if I can get out of bed, that's quality.
Right.
I mean, when I'm in a depressive state, if I can get out of bed, that's quality for me. It's not about doing 10 things, but doing one thing half decent and not. Just staying in bed and, saying, well, it's not worth it to get up.
And think about appointments. Think about if you really want other people to respect you and to care about you, instead of booking, 10 people in for appointments for the day, cut that in half and then just give them your time. Right? Yeah. So that you can actually give them quality time and you're not looking at your watch and you're not checking your appointment alerts on your phone.
Right? It's quality time with people, right?
I mean, you know what? It's just such a difference to make people feel important and to give them your time when you want to give them your time without crunching in everything to do in one day.
That makes probably, even in business-wise, that probably makes stronger relationships, you know?
It does, and you hear about people that only take meetings while they're walking to the next meeting and stuff like that.
Right.
These are billionaires we're talking about, right? But at the end of the day, same thing.
You look at family doctors or the doctor shortages now. You go into an office and you tell them what's wrong with you, and they're not listening.
A lot of the time,
it's hard to find someone if they cut down the amount of people that they saw instead of looking at
because they see 80 people a day and they're just what prescription do you need? What prescription
and actually sit and have a conversation and care.
Right. I agree. I think that it's just like anything else. I mean, there are doctors out there that are going to do that and focus on quality care, and then there's with any industry, the ones that are going to, you're just a cycle and a wheel and a paycheck to them. But same thing happens. You can't take your money to the grave with you. It's just...
It's worthless if you do.
Yeah.
It's just dirt.
Sure. And I understand. I mean, I myself am more focused on trying to be successful, to give more, to give back more.
Yeah.
So I don't think money's a bad thing if you look at it in the right way. Right. If you're looking at it from a selfish standpoint and a perspective of take, you're never gonna be happy.
No, that's exactly it. I think that's too with therapy too, right? For me, I struggled finding therapists or a counselor for a long time, and because it just felt like a number. You know what I mean? They just write a prescription for whatever antidepressant, and then I finally found someone who, treated me like a human right off the hop. First interaction, I was super suicidal, and she said, "Well, how do I get you to come back next week?"
Yeah.
She took the addict and took the mental illness out of it, and just looked at me as a human being, and I think that's why I was successful as a client. Yeah, she didn't judge me at all, and she probably has less clients than 150 people, right? And I think she's very successful in that. She helped me.
How many did you go through before you found her?
66.
66.
Yeah. Well, she was 66.
She was 66. It went through 65.
Yeah.
See, this is a lesson too, because to be honest, I've gone through 3 or 4, and I gave up. I do it all through YouTube videos and I look at courses like this, and I learn myself. But this gives hope to people.
It was killing me, right? And at the same time, I was so resilient that I wasn't going to give up. I think I had a lot of people to prove wrong before I gave up, and that's why I just kept going, and it's changed. I don't have anyone to prove wrong now. I just have myself to prove right.
Right.
Counseling works, therapy works, whether that's 66, whether that's 6 counselors or 166. I was going to keep going until I found someone that would treat me like a human, and I think I'm very grateful that I found that.
Yeah.
And I think there's one out there for everyone, right?
Yeah.
Out there. Even the ones that I 1 through 65. They're probably good counselors for
but they
someone
didn't
else.
have a connection.
Right.
They just didn't. It just wasn't for me.
That's exactly it. I think you hit the nail right on the head. Is that it's just like any relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's never going to be a perfect relationship, and there's never going to be the perfect person. But you can find someone that's perfect for you,
Exactly.
like a perfect fit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like a puzzle piece, right? Like
Yeah.
a puzzle piece that just fits.
And I think that goes with psychiatrists because that relationship is important, or therapists, or whoever. Even in the fitness industry, or coaches, right? I mean, it's all about that connection.
Yeah.
Trust.
Yeah, and finding the person that's a good fit for you.
That's what Dr. Gabor Mate says is the cure to addiction is connection.
I think it's the cure to everything.
The cure to addiction is connection. Like just connecting with people, having healthy relationships, building with people, and not isolating yourselves. Because we do have gifts.
That's bad. Isolation.
Isolation's terrible for sure.
Yeah.
We all have gifts to give, right?
Yeah.
And like the only way we can give that is by connecting with other people.
Yeah.
Like whether that's online, whether that's like in person, whether that's like through mail or whatever.
Right.
Just about connection, right? Good quality connection, and not being an asshole. I think. Really.
Yeah, but that's not just for addiction. That's
No,
really
that's for life.
that connection for happiness, for pretty much
As
everything.
humans, we need interaction, right?
Absolutely. And I think that if you're thinking about being happy at the end of the day, if you look at people that are sort of today in the mentality of take, you also said something about you have a gift to give.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily about what you can get from this world and what you can take. It's about what you're here for to give.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's again with attitude and perspective and making that shift. And as soon as you can make that shift, you can really start to heal and become happy.
Like it's like being of maximum service to others, right? But at the same time, you got to be of maximum service to yourself. Like I find that, like it says, like this healthy balance with timing, right?
Yeah.
You gotta, as much time as we give other people, and I love that we have the ability to give that to other people. I think that we really lack on giving that time to ourselves, right? So like, that's a struggle for me, at least, is giving myself time to just be Paulie.
Yeah, and that's you're making a really good point, because we're not here just to give.
Right.
You have to take care of yourself so that you can be the best giver.
Exactly. Yeah.
And find where you're most passionate about giving.
Yeah.
It's not just about giving to everyone that asks for it.
Right.
Like giving your time. I mean, we're talking about time here more than anything. But I mean, when people pull at your time, you have to decide who's really worthy of receiving your gift.
Right.
Right? And then focus on, okay, well, this person is just taking, this person really cares about me. What is their agenda, really, at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. You don't want any hidden agendas, right?
Yeah.
In this day and age, yeah.
Yeah, it is scary because
agenda
people are kind of, like you said, instant gratification, take, swipe right rather than get to know anyone. It's a very shallow society we're creating.
Superficial, for sure.
Yeah. So, and we'll talk more about that, because we're going to talk about, Scotty and I talk about the bodybuilding industry from that standpoint lots.
Well, it's not superficial at all.
It's a very meaningful industry.
It's like Ron Burgundy. Hey everyone, look how good I look.
But again, there's people like yourself, and there's lots of people that are good, and there's people the same thing. Like everything, doctors, lawyers, bodybuilders, everything. There's always going to be people that are great and are there for a different purpose than the people that are taking.
For sure.
So, and maybe these people just need to take some of this and realize how to transform the way that they think and their attitude.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean they're bad people necessarily by any means.
So, lesson in life, of course.
It's all about lessons, man. If you're feeling stressed out and pressured, the only people we can blame for that are ourselves. If you're feeling overly stressed out, it's time to make some changes, because that will eventually catch up to you. Stress is the leading cause of death in our country today.
I thought that is crazy. When you look at it, it's for sure.
Yeah, because you have to understand stress.
The chemical reactions that it causes.
Exactly. So it's not just about the feeling of stress. It's about everything connected to stress.
True stress.
Yeah. So it's the leading cause of death in our country. People are not dying of natural causes. They're dying of stress-induced disease. Stress is connected to heart disease, all types of cancer. It's related to stroke. It's related to diabetes. It all starts with being overly stressed. So stress less.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that we've already brought up. I mean, living in the moment, just breathing, taking a break, literally not overstressing yourself with the pressures on and carrying the world on your shoulders.
Yeah. Your back gets sore.
Things.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of us have days where we just don't feel well. And what you need to do on days like that is give yourself permission to just do nothing and take care of yourself that day. Just cancel out the whole day and take care of yourself with relaxation tasks and activities. If it's not a life and death situation, then it can always wait. Just like people can always wait. You can always rebook appointments, deadlines. As long as it's not a life or death situation, there's a way to, redo. You can have a redo, do-over, right? Yeah. The attitude that you have about time makes a tremendous amount of difference about how your body will respond to being rushed. So here's an example. You give yourself 15 minutes to get something accomplished and you're already anticipating it's not going to be enough time. Then schedule more time and stop trying to squeeze so much into a day. So that's the same thing that, like, if we're going to use an example from tonight, so we talked about Scott, instead of like 15 minutes, you said, like, you don't think about the drive time, right? So then it's like, okay, well, is this really going to take me 15 minutes or is it more like half an hour? Yeah. So it's just about giving yourself enough time, right? Anticipating it won't be enough time is already triggering anticipatory anxiety. You don't need to put so much pressure on yourself. Sometimes even just changing your attitude about time and scheduling is enough to create less stress in your day. There is a lot to be said about an anxious, rushed attitude. Stop and think if you are someone that has one. There aren't too many things that you couldn't be late for. So, anything you guys want to add at that point?
I just think attitudes have to battle when it comes to that.
I think it's a full battle.
It's a full battle for sure. Like, it really does come down to perception and how you want to. I always say, like, the difference between a good and a bad day is your attitude.
Right.
And there's lots of things, even on bad days that I have, that I gotta stay grateful for, because some people would love to have my bad days.
Right.
They would love to have my bad days. They'd be the best days that they ever had. So I gotta stay, like, vigilant in that and just know that everyone's gonna have tough days and not just to stay there, right? Like,
right.
Like, feel it and, like, feel the fear and do it anyways, kind of thing, like what we said a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
I think that attitude's huge when it comes to getting through tough times or even good times, right?
Yeah.
Like, patience when you don't have anything and, like, appreciation when you do have everything. Like, and not taking anything for granted.
The gratefulness.
Yeah. Just stay grateful, right? I think
gratitude's huge.
It's very, very huge. And you can, that's a gift that you can give to other people for free.
Gratitude?
Gratitude.
You can give it to yourself.
You give it to yourself, for sure. Yeah. No one has to pay for that.
About the little things, right?
Yeah.
It is. It really
little
is.
Little victories, right? Just little victories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we had talked about this before, too. I mean, when you say you're having a bad day, just because you wake up and you're feeling tired and shitty doesn't mean you're going to have a tired, shitty afternoon. Yeah. I mean, it's... again, it's our thought process. Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Sure, it is, right?
Choose, yeah.
But you might run into someone on the street and you have a genuine, nice conversation that uplifts your mood.
Yeah.
And that's all the change you need. Yeah. It's just a matter of kind of not giving up and getting out there and just seeing what the day has to offer, because every time that you take that breath, it's a gift.
Yeah. For sure.
Every minute that you have here is a gift.
Yeah. And at the same time, like, if you're in a bad mood and you're out and about during the day, like, like, if that can rub off on somebody else, right? And
it's so contagious. It's so contagious.
Just because, like, you're in a shitty mood and you give somebody a snarl or you know,
I think the opposite.
Instead of, like, when you go out, like, smile at somebody or
like,
interact or
you change someone's day. Like, all they need is someone to smile at them, right?
Yep. Just ask them how they're doing, hold the door, whatever.
Moods are contagious for sure, and negativity is contagious. Unless the person on the other end of it knows how to deal with the negativity and knows that, like, okay, this is something to do with that person, I'm not going to let that affect me. Just like we talked about, be less affected and more effective. But if you're going around and you're spreading joy and smiles, wouldn't you rather be responsible for that?
What's
like,
wrong with that
for sure.
Yeah. What's wrong? That's the thing. Someone might think there's something wrong with you this day and age, but
who cares what other people think?
Exactly.
Ultimately,
exactly. We need more of it. So, if you are feeling shitty, though, give yourself permission to just do nothing and take care of yourself that day. Just cancel out the whole day. Oh, we did this already. If it's not a life and death situation, then it can always wait. The attitude that you have about time makes a tremendous amount. Difference about your body will respond to being rushed. So we're already at the end of here. Some things even just change attitude about time. So now you have a few things that you can do to help with time management. So did you guys have any, like, techniques that you learned this week?
for time management.
Yeah.
Right.
I have them written down here, but I'll give you some. If you learned any, let's hear.
Yeah, just to write things down, like especially when it comes to, I don't really do like a lot of speaking in August, and I spoke this morning, and I was thinking about it afterwards. Like I have quite a few speaking events coming up in September because it's like recovery month.
Yeah.
And I had to get home and I had to like write them all down because I, say yes to everyone, right? And then I'd go through my email and be like, oh my god, like I have 2 events in one day. And I just said yes. I didn't even think about it. I just said, yeah, I'll do that. And so I feel like if I write that stuff down, I have a great big calendar.
Yeah.
And then, the page still says March.
Right.
Like I haven't flipped that thing since March. And it's right there. I can use it, right? And I don't use it, and I think that would be more effective for my time management, so that I don't book 2 events in one day.
Sure.
Like one's in London and one's in Chatham.
So what are you gonna do to resolve that?
Try to do both of them.
Are you really?
Yeah, why not?
Clone yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they're not at the same time. One's in the morning, one's in the evening.
Okay.
If I can, I'll do it.
His dad's a doctor. He could clone you.
I don't think the world needs another Paulie. I'll tell you that. I think one Paulie is enough.
This Paulie's a good Paulie.
Yeah,
you don't want to. Maybe you don't want to close. How many years now? Like 4 years ago, 5 years ago?
Maybe that guy.
Just
for science. Cut that guy's brain open and see what's up.
Yeah.
What's going on?
You've come a long way, buddy. I think that the world would be glad to clone either of you guys again. A few things you can do to help with time management. So plan each day the night before. Make a list of what's going to be done. Go through it. Decide what's most important. What can be delegated and what can be put off if need be. Then you want to go ahead.
That's huge for me. The whole to-do list or whatever. Like if I don't do that at night, then the next day's fucked.
But you in bodybuilding, when you were doing your meal prep and stuff like that, you would have had to have been.
Oh, everything was like that.
Yeah, so everything was like a night before, right?
Yeah.
So you've
meal, tanning, workout, posing,
everything,
all of it.
So you had everything scheduled the night before. So the one thing that bodybuilding did perfectly for you was help you with in a certain way, right?
Just forgot it all now.
Okay.
Just let it go.
Right, fair enough. Which is healthy too, man. Obviously, you needed a break. Try to decide which part of the day you have the most energy. This one's really good. Everybody has a peak productivity time, and they also have a time when they are down and tired. Plan to do the tasks that take the most energy during your peak productivity time, and plan your least important tasks during the downtime when your energy levels are lower. Do you guys know when your peak productivity time is?
Yeah.
When's yours?
Mine's kind of like 2 parts of the mid-morning.
Yeah.
And then early evenings.
Mine's the same way. So you get drained in the afternoon?
Yeah.
Would you say that's when your downtime is?
There's a lull there. Like in the morning, again, depending on my sleep with my sleep apnea, but I'm not a cranky person when I wake up.
Yeah.
But I can get up, get going, but then it's after that first or second meal, then I have a ton of energy, Yeah. And then it'll kind of dip, and then I get another big burst of energy after dinner, and that's 7 to 10.
Yeah.
But then come 9:30, 10.
So.
Yeah.
So you and I have very similar patterns in that way, which is good because you're going to be coaching me. But what about you, buddy? What do you think?
I don't know if I'm too consistent with it.
No?
To be honest with you, just when I'm up, I'm up. When I'm down, I'm down.
Right.
Depends on how many rock stars.
Yeah, it really depends on how many rock stars. I think probably, for the most part, I'm probably more productive in the evenings.
Yeah?
Because I think I do a lot more in the evenings. Hockey's always in the evenings, so I feel like I'm always, when I'm at the rink, that I'm being the most productive then, and try to boost myself up to be productive then.
Right.
Because I want to be the best service and the best coach to these kids, right?
Ultimately.
Right.
But I would say, listening to that, you're more productive in the evenings too, probably because you've eaten throughout the day, so then more energy, right?
Yeah, I'm not a grouchy person in the morning. I am a morning person, but I think that's a learned behavior because I don't sleep very well.
Right.
So I'm just getting used to waking up at 5:36 in the morning, going for a walk. It's routine now. I'll just wake up, put my shoes on, and go for a walk. But really, I should wake up, have something to eat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't eat before I walk, and there's been a few times that I've been out for my morning walk where I get super dizzy, and I'm holy shit! I'll go to Springbank Park, and I had to stop going there because I thought I might fall in the river.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so I stopped going there in the mornings because I thought if I fall in the river here, or I should just eat.
Yeah.
I should just eat.
It sounds like you know what you need to do.
I just got to do it.
Yeah, you just got to do it.
I just got to do it, yeah.
It's good though, just going for a walk in the morning because it does wake you up and get your serotonin and dopamine levels up.
It doesn't matter if it's raining or snowing or I'll go for a walk every day.
I think that what you talked about, how you just said you went for a walk at Springbank and it re-energized you.
Yeah.
I think that that's something that we forget about because a lot of us sit around computers all day. It's like the box life we talk about, right?
Yeah.
Like you get out of your boxed house, you go to your boxed office, you sit in your box, you're on a computer that's a box.
Right.
It's from box to box to box. And we were meant to be outside. We were born and we're alive to be out. Exactly. So try to get outside for at least 15 minutes a day. Even in the winter, I know it's shitty, but just that fresh air alone. And
good for you.
I couldn't believe how amazing it was, you know?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And that's the thing. It's just little things like that. When we talk about little things, take a 15-minute break, go for a walk, if you can, in a park or wherever.
Yeah.
But
eat first.
Eat first.
Or have some snacks.
Or have a snack.
And try to be healthy, right? So believe it or not, this is something that you'll like, Paulie, because we are most creative when we're tired. So this is a good time to write a book or a song or a term paper. It's better than obsessing about scary thoughts, which you also know we're good at doing.
I write the most music when
you're exhausted
after 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, I think. And do you find that you're most creative before bed?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes if I because I play my guitar a lot before bed, just to kind of that's a self-care thing for me. It's just to be able to do that, and
it takes you out of the moment of the day, like your mind, and you focus on something else, right?
Yeah, that's completely it. And I think I'm writing a song right now with Sarah Smith, which is really cool. And
awesome.
That the whole riff came at 11 o'clock at night, and I think the best part of that is I live in a building with a whole bunch of seniors, so they go to bed after Jeopardy, and I kind of get 4 hours. They don't care if I play guitar at midnight. They sleep anyways, right?
Well, that's perfect.
Yeah, it is.
Sleep after Jeopardy.
You do. Jeopardy ends at 7:30.
Is Jeopardy still on?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Really?
All the lights go out in my building at 7:30 as soon as Alex Trebek's off. And
Florida. Hopefully go for dinner at 4 and then bedtime at 7.
No kidding.
I can't wait for retirement.
It's just like those Seinfeld episodes. Do you remember when they Dumbo Camista? Another helpful thing to do is to get yourself a spiral notebook. Every day, write the date at the top of the page and write down any information that comes to you that day. This is a good one for me. I did it in real estate all the time. You know where everything is, and you don't have to stress out trying to remember every little detail from each day. This can be a great tool to use with your daytimer if you use one. But literally, something like this.
That's my daytimer.
Yeah, well, that's all you need.
Notebook.
Write down the date, and then if you just carry it around with you, write down any information, phone numbers, whatever. At least you know you have it here.
Yeah.
That'll take anxiety away from here.
For
sure.
At
least you know it's somewhere.
Yeah.
Unless you lose this, then you're kind of Just make sure that you kind of go over everything that happened in the day. Yeah, sure. Type it out, whatever. But at least you have something, and something you can go back to. You don't have to rely on your memory all the time. I mean, phones are great too, but the old school method is just...
I like the old school.
Yeah, I like the old school method too.
Pen to paper.
Yeah. Delegate when you can, and return phone calls, texts, emails, etc. during your downtime. So for Scott and I, we do the important stuff that mid-morning or later at night, and then during the afternoon is when you want to return those emails, answer those messages or whatever, when you can just kind of lay low and recoup. Any large projects you have going should be broken into smaller pieces, where you can focus on one piece at a time. We talked about that earlier. Learn to say no to other people's requests for your time. Try to underestimate and not overload yourself, and you'll find you'll get more accomplished, and you can always add to it later. When you feel tired, like you've done enough, listen to your body symptoms and stop. If you can't stop, at least take a break and do some breathing. Adopt a more relaxed attitude. This whole program is about attitude. We've talked about attitude a lot tonight. Adapt the attitude that you don't mind being with yourself. You don't mind being alone, and you don't mind waiting, and you don't mind practicing patience. So basically everything we talked about at the beginning with the car, become the old person and not so much the aggressive driver.
Yeah.
So, goals for this week, people. We've just got a few. Slow down, relax more, and choose how you spend your time. Start delegating and saying to yourself, no more, and stop when you feel tired. It's all about becoming more efficient and effective and less anxious and less stressed out, because stress is a killer. That's it for this week. Do you guys have anything you want to add? Go through your notes, Paulie.
I just have written down here about enjoying your time. You got to slow down and enjoy your time, because you don't want to hate time.
Mm-hmm.
we only get one trip around the sun a year. Right?
Yeah, time is
2 or 3 or 4. We get a certain amount of time in a day, and we have to maybe use that effectively and enjoy it. Right?
Yeah.
There's no sense in hating time.
No, you don't want to race the clock,
Right.
and time is all relative, anyways. I mean, if you think about the time in a fruit fly's life compared to the time that we have, I mean, it's a little bit different for that little guy, right? So we need to start thinking more like the fruit fly. Like he doesn't have a lot of time. What are we going to do that's really meaningful in that moment? Right?
I think that's it. We just enjoy it.
Stop trying to stay so fucking busy all the time. Like it's almost like everybody gets so busy these days so that they feel important, but it's not necessary.
Or they stay busy to avoid dealing with
shit that they really, the bigger problems. That's another good point.
Because I think that's a big, another thing with people with high anxiety is that they'll
keep busy so
people don't realize they have anxiety because they're like workaholics.
Right.
But they do that for a reason.
Right. They do
so
that
they
because
don't have to get to their own head. They don't have to face all their own emotions.
That's a great point.
I think that stuff will come up eventually, right? Like you can't stay busy for 80 years. All the time, right? And when your downtime comes and you haven't dealt with that stuff, it's gonna. I always say, when I speak, if you don't deal with your issues are gonna deal with you eventually.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. The cycle just keeps
going. Yeah. Right? You could be busy for 10 years, and maybe not be busy for a weekend, and boom, it's gonna hit you. That's how the universe works, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's what they say about lessons, right?
Right. Yeah.
Something's put in your way, and if you don't learn, then the universe just keeps throwing it back in your face in some way or another.
That's why I've always said, I do a little bit of prayer, meditation and stuff, and I was told, don't ever ask for patience. Because God will give you every test about patience ever, right? Don't ever ask for patience because the universe will give you every test to test that patience, right? And
right.
I think we just have to use patience as often as we possibly can. Patience is a virtue for sure.
Absolutely.
It definitely is.
It's hard.
It is hard.
It's probably the hardest thing there is to learn.
Yeah.
Is patience.
I think it's the more we practice it, right? And I think that's all it is, a daily practice. Or if we make it a daily practice, that we'll maybe be calmer people. Mm-hmm. As a whole, if we practice patience, or we don't mind that old person in front of us, and we say okay, maybe I'll enjoy this.
Maybe I'll enjoy the putt-putt along the street.
But hurry up. Hurry up. I gotta go somewhere and wait.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it makes a difference, all the little sayings that you've had, all your sayings along the way, will it matter in 5 years or 2 years
or even 1 year?
1 year, stop and breathe, and just be thankful or grateful for the little things, and tell the people in your life that you care about them and love them, because you don't know if you get hit by a bus when you walk out the door.
Right.
That's for sure.
Or choke on some chicken and rice.
Exactly. Which is unfortunate. I'm sorry for your... was he a younger up-and-comer then?
Oh, he was.
That's too bad. Well,
ridiculous.
Thoughts and prayers to the two gentlemen who were lost in that industry. That's sad, and again, it goes to show you that every moment
it matters, right?
It matters, and try to and don't beat yourself up if you're not crushing your to-do list.
Yeah,
just shorten the list.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the other thing. Yeah, don't beat ourselves up about it all. Right?
Sure.
It's okay.
It's okay. We're all human. We all make mistakes, and we're all just trying to figure this shit out. So all right, guys, I think that's it for this week of the podcast. So far, we're on week 13. We've got 2 more weeks left, and then we'll do the finale, in which case you guys are going to be able to ask us any questions that you want to ask if you've been with us. And we're also just going to talk about how we found the whole program and go through some of the stuff that we've been through. So that's it.
Take suggestions on what we can keep meeting about every Sunday and keep going.
Well, we're going to do it. I know Paulie's going to get busy with hockey, so we're going to maybe do it every other week or once a month.
He's out.
But we'll try to figure it out. And
2 guys on the couch.
We can just do it at the rink, right? We can just do it. I'll wear my suit right before we go out.
Do it in the hockey dressing room. There'll be the pep talk with the kids. Yeah, this doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't let the coaches pressure you. Probably not what they'd want to hear in there. But okay, guys, we're going to turn the camera around. I'm going to give it to Paulie. If you have any questions, feel free to ask him. I'm going to shut down the other equipment. And we'll see you next Sunday. Okay? Bye for now.